KFAN's YouTube channel for exclusive videos, in-depth takes, initials and password games, behind-the-scenes content, and plenty more. Search KFAN on YouTube and hit subscribe today.
Couple 13-14 past hour number 2 of the Common Man program along with Tennessee. We're live from TCO Performance Center, also known as the New Winter Park. It's continuing coverage of Vikings Training Camp 2026. Excited and delighted to be joined by Blake Cashman, linebacker with the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. Blake, how are you, me boy?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's our pleasure having you on. Air raid. Everybody, what is it?
First Wednesday of the month.
Oh, that's what that is. I thought maybe it was like back in the 1950s where I have to get under the desk right now, put my head, but no.
Seek shelter.
Yeah, seek shelter, man, because bad stuff's going down. Nice weather for practice. We were just talking about it off. I mean, a week ago would have been just brutal, but now nice breeze, like maybe upper 70s, maybe 80 degrees. Pretty nice for playing football.
Great football weather. Can't complain as a player.
How's it gone so far in the first few days? I know padded practices just started. I think heavier ones today. You like the padded practice part? Is that better?
Oh, yeah. You get to see everybody's physicality, intensity, and I think when the pads come on, I feel like the game starts becoming a little bit faster, so you can really see where everybody's at, and I think it gives the coaches a good look at evaluating players.
Last time we've had you on a couple of times. You know, went to school to Eden Prairie, played under Mike Grant, played with the Gophers, got drafted by the Jets, bounced around a little bit, really found a home here. Last year, you killed was it a hammy injury you had?
Yeah, week one
against the Bears, and then you were out for until October, right?
Missed 4 games.
Four games. When you're coming back after 4 games, is it hard to pick up the speed right away again and get right back into it, does it take a while?
I feel like for me, you expect it, or anticipate that it's going to be a little bit fast, but, when I have as much experience as I do, once you get that week of practice on your belt, like it's just jumping right back into it like you never missed any time.
Because that almost, and I know this is going to sound crazy about saying like injury's a blessing in disguise, but if you're out a few weeks early, you probably stay fresher. Because I got to think by the time you get to weeks 15, 16, 17, 18, especially in a physical game like this, playing linebacker, you're kind of beat up and kind of sore, and man, you probably slow down a little bit, right? So does it help to be a little fresher? Did you feel fresher late in the year?
Definitely. I felt really good once I got back from my injury. I didn't have anything that was really aching throughout the rest of the season, and I would definitely agree that, this part of training camp and ramping up and throwing the pads back on, you got joint practices. You really got like 6 weeks of hard practices till you actually enter the season. I think, in my opinion, that's the toughest on a player's body.
Okay. Can I talk green dot with you?
Absolutely.
Let's talk green dot. So, like on the offensive side of the ball, a quarterback gets the play, they're at the line of scrimmage, they're able to make changes all the time based off the defense. How much autonomy do you have when Beefalo makes the call and you see what the offense is doing? Like, how much autonomy do you have to change plays, and how often does that happen? And I have to imagine the communication on that is challenging as well.
A lot of it's going to be dictated on what the call or situation is. When we get into second and long, third down, a lot of our max pressure and tricky coverages that we throw at teams, those checks are going to come from the safeties. But especially early down, we would do a lot of formation recognition, and that's all on the backers, echoing the call, getting everyone lined up. So we're in a favorable call against what the offense's formation is.
What offensive coordinator in the league currently, or even maybe during your time, has been like the most confusing and complex for you to read when you've been on the other side of the ball?
Well, I think it's no secret, Ben Johnson's been a tough coach to go against. He just has a really good understanding of what we do defensively, and I think he also does a really good job at setting plays up for later down the road. He'll give you the same look multiple times, running certain inside runs or quick throws, and then he's going to bang a play action, try to take a shot on you. So he has a good feel, but I think we as a defense understand that, and we got some things cooking for that.
Like it.
2 new additions to the defensive unit. How many will start? It all depends upon how quickly they can develop. You've got Caleb Banks, defensive end, and a nose tackle, they call him Big Citrus. Mm-hmm. My guess is he's got a big navel then. Big orange, big navel citrus. How good are these guys going to be? Can you tell right when you watch, you go, that guy's a player, he's not, we need some more time to develop? And how much do you think they'll play early?
For the young guys up front on the line, what's impressed me the most is their athleticism and strength and how they're able to create, push in the pocket, which stresses quarterbacks out. And we preach that all the time in our defenses. Sometimes you don't even need a wind clean and get on an edge. If you can just compress the pocket, that's a very uncomfortable position for the quarterback to be in. It makes the throws a lot more challenging. His vision gets worse, and he doesn't have room to step up in the pocket and deliver, a strike. But overall, I've been very impressed with our rookies. I think our coaches have thrown a lot at them, and they've been testing them in different spots and with many different calls and checks. And from a standpoint of understanding our scheme and the game mentally, they're growing a lot.
Even though you have a roster of 53 young guys that are drafted as highly as they were and as highly regarded as they were, there's not a lot of the learning curve's got to be pretty quick, right? Obviously the team would love these guys to earn a starting position right out of the gate and make contributions immediately, so there's a lot of pressure on them too. Absolutely.
I think, rookie year is no question the hardest year on any player. But, at this point, you're just, as a rookie, you're just trying to figure it all out. Right. Your head can be spinning. But, as we progress through training camp and into the preseason, the way we call plays and, the personnel groupings we throw out there, we're going to try to at times simplify it so you can just allow these guys to have a clear mind and go out there and show what they're capable of doing. So, it's all about confidence and playing fast.
Caleb coming off the same injuries. It's a foot injury. I saw a quote in one of the websites where he said that the rehabbing here on the pro level is way more intense than it is on the collegiate level. He said they worked me hard and did things that I didn't do at the college level, and he thinks that's really benefited from him. You played college ball. Is there a big difference in training staffs from the pros to the college, or do you think it depends on just the individual training staff for each college and each pro location?
I would say what dictates how aggressive your rehab, your therapy is going to be is what your timeline is and where you're at, whether it's in season, right up, you're at the front door of training camp, or it's early off season. That's really going to dictate, because if you have an injury and it's January and say you don't make the playoffs, you have a long time before you're playing real football. So that plan, that schedule is going to be very different. But at the NFL level, we got great resources, and the Minnesota Vikings have no hesitation to use as many as they can to get guys healthy and feeling their best, so they can be on the field making plays, because the best version of a player on the field is what's best for the Minnesota Vikings.
Last year when we had you on at this time, you talked about the changes in Buffalo's defense kind of from year one to year two. You were adding some things more comfortable with Buffalo. Now they're going into year three. Are there still more things that are being added on, or is it more just kind of perfecting what was laid last year?
A little bit about, perfecting or getting better at things we did last year and things that, schematically work really well for us. But we got some new things. Flo is always going to be very innovative. I think he's one of the most innovative, especially defensive coach in this league, and he's going to have a good plan. I can't give the answers to the test, but as the defensive guys, we're excited for the plan ahead.
Do you look at him like sometimes like he's mad scientist? Like you go, what is he coming up with here? What's that? And then all of a sudden you practice it, and then you in real time out on football field it works. It must be crazy.
Absolutely. There's been many times where us players look at him like, "Yo, Flo, you're nuts, man. We can't do this." And he's like, "It's gonna work. It's gonna work." Yeah. And but he puts a lot of trust in us and faith that we're gonna practice, execute it at a high level, and then when it's gonna pay off on game day.
I think I remember this, but maybe I'm making it up. Maybe it was a different player or a different coach or whatever. But that I thought I heard that some of the players say that B-Flo was also open to suggestions from the players too. So it's like you go, I think this might be. He's not going to go, no, I'm the coach, you just play. He'll go, hey, that might be a good idea. Let's give it a try.
Absolutely. The biggest thing with him and getting feedback for players, especially like in the second half of games when, if we have a lead and we're trying to sustain that lead and teams have to throw the ball, he's going to have a few calls or checks that he really likes, but he's going to sit down with the back end, the defensive backs and the linebackers and say, hey, what calls are you guys comfortable with? We need a check here. And we'll give him feedback, and he'll create his list or make his menu on how we're going to go down. We're going to win or go down a certain way.
You played 1 year with Jamal Adams in New York. Oh, 2 years, sorry. What was he like as a teammate, and what can Vikings fans expect out of him?
Guy is tenacious and brings a lot of energy. It's been just fun over the last week to see him here because, this is a very hard defense just to walk through the door and try to learn all of what they're asking him to do. But as he's continued to get more comfortable, you're feeling and hearing his presence out there. But the guy's played this game at the highest level possible and has all the accolades and seen a lot of ball. So he's just so important to have in the room, another vet presence with a lot of experience and knowledge of the game to share not only on me and other vets, but especially these young guys.
Our guest is Blake Cashman, Vikings linebacker. We're at training camp 2026 for the Vikings out of TCO. Okay, I'm gonna ask you the question, and I know I'm probably gonna get name, rank, and serial number. But is Harry the Hitman coming back and playing this season? I know you know.
I'm going to let Harry answer that question when the time comes, but I will say, with that, Harry's earned the right to take as much time as he needs and wants. And I'm sure there's different dialect with him and his representation, his agent, and the coaching staff, but the guy's earned the right, I think not to be here for the meantime if he does choose to come back or not. So we do miss him, and we got to fill that void. But that's what training camp's for, is to get those reps in and practice that.
How important is he to the team? I mean, does he make you substantially better, a completely different defense, better? I mean, he with 15 years of experience, he brings a lot to the field.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my favorite teammates I've had the privilege to play with, and in this defense when linebackers got to give checks up front, secondary, really Harry's job was to get us organized in the back end, and especially on the second and long and third down. Those are critical winning downs in this league, and to have a guy like Harry the past couple years for me to play with, he brings a very calm presence, and when you feel calm, you're confident, and the defense is very organized when he's on the back end and making those checks. Well,
and a lot of I'm sure you probably play with a lot of confidence too, because I was talking to Jake Mauer, Joe's brother. He said for baseball, he goes, first thing you're trying to do is make the team. Mm-hmm. Then you're trying to make your money. Then you're trying to make a championship. And all that as you go, you just become more. When you realize you belong, that you're in the league, it's easier to play with confidence. I'm sure you play with plenty of confidence as well. The more you play, the better, the more confident you feel.
And speaking on that point, I feel like once guys get to that point in their career, they're willing, or they see the game differently, but they're also willing to take more risk in terms of, if it's going to pay off and make a very big game-changing play.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you see the game differently. It slows down for you because you've seen stretch runs 1,000 times.
Right.
You've seen boot 1,000 times. So, you just keep banking those reps over time, and it pays dividends in the long run.
One more name, rank, and serial number. A lot of the skeptics think Murray's going to be the starting quarterback. Coach says it's a wide-open competition between he and McCarthy. Who's starting? Come on, tell us.
We don't know. We're defensive players. We stay out of it. I want to see both guys compete at a high level, which both of them are made of the right stuff. When you look at what you see in the media and on social media, whatever, what fans are saying, people got to understand in training camp, the offenses are still trying to. First of all, they're learning a new system in terms of how they're running the football and how it's going to marry up with the pass game. But they're still trying to get the timing down on all these routes. So it's not abnormal to see offenses maybe struggle a little bit more at the beginning or defenses doing better. It's just kind of the way training camp progresses. So I'd say maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm really excited to see where those guys are at once the offense, starts picking up and rolling a little bit.
Well, it's because, it's the truth that the quarterback position can be very complicated, especially when they talk about the way KOC's offense runs, and you've got 3 or 4 guys out running their pattern. And you have to know where they're going to be. They have to be there. You throw the ball before you get there. Plus, you got guys breathing down your neck if the pocket's collapsing. It's not an easy position to master.
You got Cashman looking to tip it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, especially against our defense, our offense isn't going to really see a defense like this the rest of the year. So, and we cause a lot of stress and chaos for our offenses. So, it's hard, especially at the beginning. But I'll tell you this, whoever ends up being QB1, whoever ends up being QB2, they're going to have the full support of this football team, and nobody's giving up on any player. We love each other and we support each other, and at the end of the day, it's just put the guys out there that are going to help us get the win on Sundays.
Thanks for sharing your time with us. Good luck to you this season, and we'll see you opening week against Green Bay. Thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Blake Cashman, soon to be big game world champion, Minnesota Vikings. We'll take a short break, come back with more. We're live from Vikings Training Camp 2026, TCO Performance Center right here on The Fan.
Before we go, The Fan and BigTech.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks for the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is rich. Keyword rich. KFAN.com. Keyword rich.
You're listening to Common, live from training camp on The Fan. Presented by the Minnesota Sports and Events Golden Ticket.
From the
.com/watch. You can watch the Power Trip Morning Show, program password, exclusive interviews, and more. You get closer to the shows and personalities you love. It's powered by Quantum Fiber Internet.
Welcome back to Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center. It's training camp coverage 2026 here on The Fan. I'm Comedy Sinby. I think I saw the legendary one already here. So he'll be joining us just before.
He gets here early.
He gets here early. Well, he's a nose to the grindstone kind of guy. Never stops working, always, even in his sleep. He'll join us about 2, but right now...
Well, before we get to it, it's got some breaking NFL news.
Oh, okay.
Wide receiver Stephon Diggs has found a new home. He's moving back to the NFC. He is signing with the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders.
With Washington. So
they are a little thin in the wide receiver room, so that makes sense.
Best of luck to the Diva. He always was, but he was a hell of a player. Had some good years for here. He was a Minnesota Miracle guy, right?
Correct.
So good for him. Hey, let's do this. Mark Wilf, co-owner, Sir Mark Wilf, along with his brother Zygmunt of the Minnesota Vikings. He talked with the media today. It's about 4 or 5 minutes. Let's see what he had to say. Here's Sir Mark Wilf.
And we have a lot of confidence in the leadership of our coach and GM and the rest of the team.
Mark, when you say that Nolan compliments KO in a unique way, what do you mean by that?
I just think they work well together. I just see them. I've had an opportunity to watch them interact, and I just see how comfortable they are with each other. They have different characteristics that I think all of us can decide how that works. But from my perspective, it's working well, and I think Coach can focus on what he has to focus on. Nolan can focus on what he focuses on, and they share and they collaborate, and everyone in the building feels that.
Did you seek out Mexico City? Were you surprised that you guys got that? Is that part of your international?
We did not seek out Mexico City, but again, as you know, our organization and franchise is usually supportive of the NFL's international efforts. As you know, first team ever to have 2 international games last season, so I believe same time zone and great fan base, and looking forward to bring the Viking assignment. I know we have a big Mexican and Latin community in this area as well, so we're good with having more fans jump on the bandwagon for the Minnesota Vikings.
I know right around the corner, but when you see as owners what the Seahawks sold for, does that at all light a candle to say, well, maybe we might want to put a timeline together and put a date on when we might want to, because, I mean, that's, it's only going up.
Well, the business side of it is not what got us into the Minnesota Vikings. We love football. We're honored and privileged to be stewards of an incredible franchise, and our ultimate goal is to bring championships to the fans of the Minnesota Vikings who really deserve it. And that's what we're about, and that's the excitement. And we're long-term. We're a family that is going to hopefully be part of the Minnesota Vikings for a very, very long time.
Mark, what's the involvement now from a family standpoint? 2005, it was you and your brother and some investors, certainly, but it seems like we see a lot more of your kids out here now. And what's been the evolution of the Wilfs for how this team has run and how decisions are made?
Yeah, well, you've said it pretty much right. The next generation of our family is engaged in the process. In fact, some of them were part of the search process for GM and other aspects of it. So that's a constantly evolving thing. But our family approaches things highly collaboratively, and we're always fine-tuning how decisions are made. But thankfully, everything works out well there, and we're very pleased for the future on the ownership side. So you don't have to worry about that piece.
With the NFL's approval of private equity investments for ownership groups, and you've talked about keeping it in the family. Obviously, you can do that with private equity, but is that something you guys have explored at all, adding a private equity ownership stake at all?
It's clearly something the league has allowed, and some teams have gone that direction, but that's not something that is really something that our family's focused on. Again, we're proud of our ownership stewardship, our ownership group as a whole, and we want to keep it that way. And so the main thing as far as the fans and what the community wants to know is the resources to provide, and we will do whatever it takes to make sure we have a winner and a great culture, great facilities, being part of the community, and really being all connected that way, so people can be proud of the Minnesota Vikings. So that's our goal, and that's not of interest to us, what you described.
Mark, a lot of important.
What's that?
Do you want Harrison Smith to come back?
Well, I'll leave that to Harrison, but as I said to you previously, Harrison Smith, an all-time Viking, will be in our Ring of Honor one day and the NFL Hall of Fame, and whether he comes back in the 15th season and whatever that looks like, that's completely in his hands. But I can't speak highly enough about the kind of player, character, example he's been throughout his career, and we just wish only the best for him and his family.
Mark, a lot of importance was placed this spring on the draft class. I guess it's early, but what would your gauge be on how successful the staff was in bringing in immediate contributors?
I won't begin to profess any specific knowledge except speaking to Nolan and Coach, and I think they're all different stories, but as a whole, I'm personally excited about the fact that we have a lot of good young talent here that has an opportunity to develop, and we have the coaching staff and team around to develop, and some great veterans as well. So I like the mix of the team, and like I said, I'll say it again, real confidence and excitement about the leadership of this football organization. So they're in good hands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there you go. That's Viking co-owner Sir Mark Wilf from earlier today in Tennessee. I just love when they confirm what I've said all along. People always wonder why these ownership groups own teams, and a lot of people think it's all about the money. The question was asked by one of the intrepid reporters, boy, with the value of a team's going up, you think of getting out now and cashing in your chips? And I'm sure Mark wanted to just laugh and say, the money will always be there. If they decide to sell the team, whether it's tomorrow, next week, a year from now, 10 years from now, the money's always
They'll make a nice low profit.
They're here. They like owning a football team. It's fun for them. Wouldn't you want to own a football team?
I would love to.
It'd be a great thing. So they own a football team, and they're going to pass it along to their kids. They've got enough money. It's not like, boy, we're kind of hurting there, or we could use some extra income. It's like they don't need to worry about that. So that the team's not going anywhere. I don't think they're going to sell. I'd be stunned if all of a sudden it was announced in the next couple of years.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Poleads. Now the Poleads did announce they were going to sell it, and maybe they really were, and then decided can't really get what we want for it, or then they convinced themselves they really wanted to keep the team, and they were in such trouble with the way the team was. Financially, they claimed, because of that debt service, and then they got some minority owners, or limiteds, as Glenn used to call them, got some limiteds to pay that off, and then they're in a better spot. But they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's take a break. Come back. KOC had a little brief
injury update on one of our players.
So we'll have that for you on the other side of the break. Mark Rosen will join us as well. It's training camp coverage 2026 here at Vikings Training Camp, right here on the Fan.
Score tickets to the biggest games and concerts in town? From Santana, the Doobie Brothers, Snoop Dogg, and more, your chance to win is just waiting for you. Enter now, KFAN.com, keyword contest.
Another great concert coming to Mystic Lake Amphitheaters. Brett and the Blakemores, I heard, is coming. It wasn't funny. I'll send it to rewrite and have him punch it up. Power Trip Morning Show. So KOC really didn't do a presser. He just had a quick little injury.
He just jumped in to give out, yeah.
So let's hear what KOC had to say. This is a 30-second snippet from the head coach of the Vikings.
He'll be out moving around a little bit today, but probably not participating. He had a little thumb that just kind of jammed it in routes on air the other day. Normal kind of thing. We had it checked out, all imaging and everything. Came back clean. It's just a little sore, and we want to be able to let him put this thing behind him in the next day or two, but nothing to be concerned about, but just didn't want to not share that with you guys and then be wondering, because I'm not sure exactly when the next time I officially talk to you will be, but always want to just let you guys know so you're not trying to figure out where he is. But he'll be out there, he'll be moving around, but just want to let that thing heal up, okay? And Wes should be here momentarily.
So he was talking about Jordan Addison.
Wide receiver Jordan Addison.
Right,
yep.
Jordan Addison. But, I like that about KOC.
Yeah, what a stand-up guy.
He says, look, I don't even have to be here right now. I'm not required to be here, but because I want to let you know, but I don't want people going, what's wrong with Addison? Why isn't he here? Because then he's going to have to answer the questions. So that's called being proactive and preemptive.
And especially with Jordan, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, I'm not even talking about that stuff, but if he's out there running around but not doing everything, then people are gonna be like, "Oh, is this like a hold-in for a contract?" Because he's kind of in that spot now where he's been here for a couple of years, and could be up for a deal at some point. So that's where people would go. So he's just nipping that in the bud right away. That's why he spoke.
Speaking of pass catchers, T.J. Hockenson, tight end, soon to be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. He spoke to the media not long ago, and here's what he had to say.
Yeah, just obviously, every day we're out here, he's throwing the rock and, just continuing to try to make plays for him and get open. And, that's what this time's all about, is just, getting the rhythm and the timing of the offense and understanding your job and understanding where you're at in the concept. So I think, it's been fun to have, that time with all the quarterbacks. So.
With Gavin getting out here for really his first training camp, what have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Gavin's awesome. I've watched him last year. Obviously, he was in the meeting rooms and just learning and asking questions and really attacking the game from that standpoint. And then coming out here and he had a good OTAs and now he's playing well during this camp time. So it's been fun to watch him and fun to interact with him because, like I said, he's a sponge. He's trying to absorb as much information as he can, and he's always asking questions, and that's something that getting older in my career and being a little more experienced. I had really good vets coming into the league, and so I've really enjoyed being that for him.
How have you witnessed maybe KO changing and evolving as a career to the past couple of years?
Yeah, I've always, loved playing for KO. He's really smart with football, obviously, as an offensive mind and putting us in positions to win and trusting in his players to go out there and make plays. And I think, that's something that he's really, done a lot, throughout my time here is just, players are going to make plays and go out there and do it, and trusting us to know where we're supposed to be and when we're supposed to be there, but then, showing that, we can beat one-on-one coverage and be in the rhythm and timing of the offense, but continuing to, use the tools that he's shown us that we can win on routes and, releases and top of the routes and stuff like that to get open, versus just running a line on paper. So.
TJ, just with your contract situation, there's a chance that you might not be here. I guess how important was it to you to maybe come back here?
I've always said this very openly, is I love this place. I've really enjoyed being like being here, playing for KO, playing in this locker room, being around these guys. So that's not really my focus right now. I mean, my focus is just this year, and we'll figure that out when it happens. But I've always said that there's been no secrets on how much I love this place and how much I enjoy being here.
What do you think Frank Smith adds just as another offensive mind?
Oh, Frank's awesome. I've loved learning from him, seeing how he explains the game and the run game and everything. Obviously, he was an old tight ends coach, so he's got a special place for us, and so he walks into our room and explains something, and you can just tell when he talks to you and when he installs a play or when he talks about a play, he loves the game, and he loves coming up with things that maybe you don't see all the time, and how we can mess with the defense on certain different things, and using attack. We talk about attack all the time in this building, and being on the attacking end of schemes and everything, and Frank's a guy that he embraces that and loves to do that. He wants to attack, and he wants to have defenses dictate to us rather than us dictating to them. So I think he's been a great add, and he's been a great contribution to this offense.
To that extent, what kinds of wrinkles have you noticed are different about this run game and some of the new things, the ways that it asks things of you?
I think just really trusting the guy next to you. We talk about schemes and everything, and defenses move and things happen post snap that you don't necessarily know, but just trusting your track, trusting the guy inside that he's going to be there with you in case there is some movement, and we're not just locked on to our blocks necessarily, and we're really locked onto the scheme and how we want to do things versus you can draw it out on paper all day, but sometimes when you get a defense out there, things happen and things change, and so I think that's been a huge advantage for us just being here for the last couple of weeks or last week or whatever, and is just understanding the scheme behind it and what we're trying to do and where the backs track is, where where we're fitting, what the guy inside of us is doing, and what we're all thinking as a collective unit versus just individual blocks.
A number, whether it's been you or Wes, you talked about the changes in the tracks for running backs. How has that played out differently as they're trying to press blocks and set things up?
It makes our lives easier on the edge, to be honest with you. When you have a guy like Aaron Jones and JP in the backfield, those are huge advantages in our favor. So when they are able to press things, cut it up, it helps our blocks. It makes the defense set edges. It makes them trust or them have to go out there and move to be able to set the edge. And so there's just so many things with the offense and the backs tracks that can change like the scheme and how the defense looks at it. So I think those are big things with just being a little part of the offense, but it's a big change, so it's been fun.
What's it been like for you to just have Christian Darrisaw come back to this camp healthy after all he went through last year?
Yeah, it's been awesome to see him out here. And just talking to him, he's excited about this year and just how much he's progressed in the offseason and how much stronger he feels. I've obviously gone through that injury. It's not a fun one, and I understand the aches when you're coming back and things and just not trusting stuff. And so it's been a lot of fun to have him next to me on the left side. And he's a guy that I love playing with because what he's going to do, and he's going to be violent, and that there's nothing better than that on the line of scrimmage with a big guy. So.
How long did it take you to really trust it, like 100%?
Yeah, I would say last year was really, when I first came back, I think those 7 games, it was, you trust it, it's just like, all right, let's let it go. It is what it is, but to really feel the explosion and everything was, having the next off season, and then last year was, I felt explosive, and I felt like I was able to do a lot of different things. So, now we're just another year under the belt. So, it's only up, and that's something that I don't even think about anymore. It's kind of in the rearview mirror at this point. So, but no, like I said, I'm excited to watch CD this year and have him next to us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And there you have it. That's T.J. Hockenson, tight end of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. And, if we can get any more interviews, we'll jam those in there as well. It's called Lazy Radio. So Tenneby, we were talking earlier about Lazy List Radio, CBS Sports had a list of the 10 best play callers on offense.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell ranked number 8, so he was in the top 10. Also in the top 10, Ben Johnson at 4, Matt LaFleur at 9. Nobody from the Kiddies at number. I don't
even know if I know who your play caller is anymore. Is it technically Dan Campbell?
No. It's a guy from the Cardinals, Penzing.
Oh, so he's new, right?
Yeah, he's new. And
what happened to the guy last year?
Well, the guy last year, they decided they needed to move in another direction.
Yeah.
But the guy from the Cardinals, well, that offense was terrible last year, so I don't know why they went and got him. But Campbell loves him for some reason, but that's Dan Campbell for you. But they also had the top 10 defensive play callers, Tenneby.
Ooh.
Who do you think CBS Sports says, if you want somebody calling plays for you in the defensive side of the ball, who do they think is the very best?
I mean, I don't know my defensive play callers as well as my offensive play callers, so I would assume Beeflo's high up there.
He's on the list of top 10.
Yeah.
He's definitely on the list, but he's not number 1. I've already scrolled past all of them. Hold on, I'll get back to it. I'll get back to number 1. Number 1,
trying to even think who that would be.
Well, they're the defending big game world champions.
Well, it's Seattle Seahawks.
It's Mike McDonald of the Seattle Seahawks. Yep. His highest rank was 1. His lowest rank was 1. So he's only been ranked once, I guess. He's ranked as the best play caller. Steve Spagnuolo at number 2 from the Chiefs. Jesse Minter from the Ravens at 3. Nick Fangio, Eagles, at 4.
Is he related to Vic?
I don't know. And then finally, Brian Flores at number 5.
Okay.
Says, after McDonald, defensive play callers were 2 through 5 were separated by a mere 9 points. So if we're tiering them, Flores really belongs in tier 2, even if he finished number 5 overall. In fact, Flores received 2 second-place votes and 3 third-place votes. Flores' uber-aggressive scheme, the Vikings led the NFL in pressure rate last year, it rattles many a quarterback from the get-go. And, we talked with Blake Cashman, and he basically said the same thing. And sometimes you wonder if it's just lip service, right? I mean, what's a player going to say about their coach? Oh, greatest coach ever. Best defensive coordinator I've ever had. Gets the most out of everybody. Great culture. They all kind of say the same things. And, I don't expect them. There's not many players who are going to just go ahead and say, he's okay, but I wish he was better. They're just not going to do that. And Blake may believe everything he said, and that was my point. I think in the case of Cashman, I think the players really do believe it. I think they are sort of mesmerized by him a little bit, because he does seem to, and it's not just the people in this organization. When you read outside of it, when you read stories by people, regardless of who they work for, but national people, they all talk about Flores and what a mastermind he is and how different his defense is in, how he disguises everything. We've heard from players that we've had on during training camp on the defensive end of the ball where they'll basically say, yeah, he's got me. I mean, I might be labeled as a linebacker or a safety or whatever the case may be, or an edge rusher, but I got all sorts of responsibilities. I don't just sit in one position all the time. It depends upon the formation by the other team, the personnel of the other team, the situation of the game, and that I guess can be a bit on the risky side too. But it works for him, and I think that's why players do like playing for him. I believe that they do.
Well, he's number 4 on this list, and I would say how many in that top 5 could be in the top 5 without really having like Pro Bowl level talent on that side of the ball, right? I mean, there's not a blue chipper on that side. I will say, when we talked to Blake Cashman, which you'll be able to go back and listen after the show on the Comment Program podcast page, the listeners can only listen to him talk. You and I can see him talk. He kind of had a little twinkle in his eye talking about some of the new things Brian Flores is going to be coming up with this year. He seemed to be pretty excited about it.
I also, I think most of our listeners are aware of the legendary reporter Mike Wallace, who worked for 60 Minutes. I kind of Mike Wallaced him a little bit there and ambushed him when I said, look, I know you know, who is Harry the Hitman coming back? And he laughed, but he basically said he's coming back.
Yeah,
because he basically
he
said,
didn't really say it.
Yeah, he goes, but if he does decide to come back, he deserves not to have to be here for always, nothing like that. He's coming back. I think we all knew that, but it's funny because he even laughed. He said, I don't know, but I think everybody does know. And, maybe
that's their little inside joke.
Yeah. And maybe they don't know from actually him looking at him saying, I'm coming back, or the coaching staff, but they get the same feel that all of us get, right? That you just say, well, you would have announced it by now, you're coming back. And
he just doesn't want to go to training camp.
Right, that's exactly right. And that's what Blake was basically saying. He's earned that right. He's earned the right not to want to have to go to training.
And he has.
Yeah. And so, so he's going to come back. As far as the quarterback situation, he said he truly doesn't know it. And even then, I tend to believe him. I tend to believe he does it. Certainly, I don't think the defensive players have any idea. Or really, I'm not saying they don't care, but that's not their top priority right now. Their top priority is we got to figure out Beeflo's defense and get ready for the season. I got to win my starting job if I'm not a starter already. And then he also said he liked Big Naval and
Big Naval
and Walking Boot Banks. And he said what he liked most about him, he goes, he loves their athleticism, and their size. And that's the thing. It's like, it is crazy that these, as big as these players are, they can still move they're pretty good athletes. It used to be the old, make the joke about the linemen are just big, big overweight guys that just take up a lot of space, and all they have to do is just don't let the guy get around you, right? Or if you're the defensive lineman, try to get around the big fat guy on the other side of you. But that's really not the case anymore. These guys are all pretty good athletes. So, we talk about it all the time. To me, these teams are selling hope, and the players do it, the coaches do it, and ownership does it, and it's an interesting. What Viking season isn't, right? I mean, every year's got different subplots, twists, turns to it. And it always ends up at the end of the day where we're not playing in that final game of the year. At least haven't done it since '79. And it seems like as you look at it right now, it's going to be tough to get to, it's the division's competitive. The whole NFC is competitive.
Unless Kyler maximizes his potential.
Here's what I'll tell you, though.
I mean, they went 9-8 last year with rock bottom quarterback play.
Yeah. Of course, those last 5 games didn't mean much.
True.
How about if I told you this? I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I think Carson Wentz starts the first 6 games, you go 5-1.
Oh my gosh. Above average at that.
Well, so PA said.
I was going to say, if he can lead you to a 5-1 record, then he should start the first 6 games. That's who I would start.
I would start him right now. I saw him out there yesterday when we were watching him warm up during walkthroughs, or just before, when they came out for 2 o'clock. We've talked with this. It's a pretty good gig being a backup quarterback. You'd rather start. I bet every guy that's a backup quarterback would rather be the starter, right? I mean, it's fun. That's why they're there.
Make a little more money.
And you make more money.
Yeah.
And you're always in the action, and you get to play, and all the practice is worth it.
Zero pressure, though.
But now it's like, well, okay, I guess if I play, that means we're either really bad or we're really injured. And so you just go in and collect your paycheck.
You come in and no one's got any expectation
that's
of you.
That's it, the only expectations. And,
it's like doing the 10 Fitzgerald.
Well, there's that.
I got a cush job. I don't have to do much when you're hosting. And then when I come in, no one has any expectations of quality radio.
As a matter of fact, the first thing they do is they put a life jacket on when the show starts. That's the first thing they do. That's their expectation. They're not expecting any more than that. But I'll tell you what, it's like with any team, if we have to get to a second or third quarterback, it's probably because we're not doing very well. Or it could be injury, I guess. But if you get to your second or third, sometimes things just aren't panning out very well. Let's take a break, wrap up hour number 2 of the broadcast. Mark Rosen has joined us now, the legendary one here, covering another training camp, one of many he has. It's continuing coverage of Vikings Training Camp 2026 live from the Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center right here on The Fan.